Violet here, and Lars, and Arthur, but he's asleep. We are in the car in the White Mountains of New Hampshire. We're going to check out the Betty and Barney Hill incident and see what we can find out. And also, I'm going to be doing some more detailed research so I can tell you the story in as much detail as possible. We're also going to show you the actual spots in which it happened. So, Lars, do you have any thoughts about this adventure we're on and about the Betty and Barney Hill incident?
Oh, well, it's a classic sort of UFO phenomena case. It's one of the first cases in the U.S. that was documented by the mainstream media, and yeah, it's like kind of this foundational story of UFOs and potential alleged so-called alien abduction. So I've been coming to this area ever since I was a kid, and it's wild to think that this happened just a couple miles from where I would come spend every summer ever since I was about 6 or 7 years old. So yeah, let's get down to it.
I'm really interested too because I'll link the video, but I've had some UFO experiences myself, and I also have my own kind of intense theories about what's going on with this whole like alien phenomena. So I will post that video in case you want to hear like my personal experiences and thoughts. But for this trip, we're just going to focus in on this incident and see what we can find.
In this clip, we are taking you along the very route that this event happened in New Hampshire, so that you can see the very landscape of the White Mountains during this segment that the craft was actively following the car. So this spot, the old man of the mountain, was where Barney got out and looked at the craft with binoculars. So Betty and Barney Hill were a couple who were on their way home from their honeymoon in 1961. Their honeymoon was in Niagara Falls, and they were driving back home to Portsmouth, New Hampshire. They had dinner in Vermont, so they were driving through the night. Soon after crossing into New Hampshire, Betty noticed a bright light in the sky and thought it was a planet until it started moving. So they had their eyes on it, and Betty even tried to wave at it and invite it down. She later said that she might have brought this incident on herself. But the light began to seemingly follow the car, swooping over the mountains and hovering over their car. So it stopped in front of them near Indian Head, which you'll see very soon on this clip, and Barney came to a dead stop in the middle of the highway, saying that he saw an opening, actually, like a door opening from the craft with silhouettes of figures in it. So then after this, it gets a little bit blurry because they missed time. And they got home late into the night. It was actually hours later than they should have arrived home, about 2 hours, I believe. And they didn't at that time have any memories of the encounter. So Barney started having trouble sleeping and eventually started going to a doctor for it. And this led them down a path that they both went under hypnosis and were able to recall the events that happened. And this solidified into actual memories. It kind of seemed to open that door to actually remember what happened more clearly, especially from Betty, who said that she was actually very lucid during this entire encounter. So Barney recalled the fact that he felt compelled to veer the car off on a dirt road into the mountains, into the forest, where their car was stopped and then they were taken up into the craft. Barney's movement was restricted. He was kind of like in forced paralysis, probably because he was larger and maybe they considered him more of a threat than Betty. But Betty actually had conversations with the beings on the craft, and they seemed to take what probably were DNA samples, like fingernail clippings and hair samples. And Betty actually remembers a large needle being put into her navel, potentially as a sort of pregnancy test. What's interesting is the dress she wore was new, And she didn't wear it before this incident, and she didn't wear it again after. She kind of stuffed it into a drawer and put it away. But upon looking at it, after these memories came back, the dress had obvious distress to it, and it also had very strange stains all over it. And this dress exists in a museum to this day that you can go and see, as well as the bust of the head, which you'll see later in this video actually, of what the beings looked like, as Betty recalled. So this encounter was significant because it was the first abduction experience, at least that was like very widely reported on. So a lot of experiences and knowledge about abductions reference this very story. Okay, so we are getting close to the actual Route 3, the old Route 3 that they would definitely have been driving on the stretch in which the abduction happened. And we know that this happened on a dirt road, and I believe it's after the Indian Head sign.
Yeah.
That now supposedly is paved. Now, the sign for the incident is on Route 3 itself, so we're going to look around that area, but we're going to try to find like an off street that is paved and see if we can figure out where this actually happened. What do you think, Lars?
Sounds like a great idea.
Okay.
All right, we're about to turn onto the road now.
Okay, I'm going to turn this around. So we're on it now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So first, I guess we look out for that sign.
Yeah. It's gonna be a little ways.
Okay. So
I think.
Liberty Springs Trailhead. Flume Gorge Visitor Center.
I think it's gonna be on the left, but I'm not positive.
Right, I think the Indian Head sign is on the left, yeah. I think we can start looking for off streets now, especially paved ones. So that's not...
It's a driveway.
Is there anyone behind us? Yes, okay. Just know how much we can slow down if we need to. So here's the Indian Head sign. This is part of the story. It's coming up right there.
Yeah. There's a road right here. It's called Broken Arrow Road. Looks like almost like it was a dirt road.
Yeah, and it's paved. It goes
This
up
is
to
where
a house
the
on
marker
side.
is. Should we stop?
And there's the marker. Yeah. Maybe we go just a teeny bit further.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a paved road there. It goes up to a house or something, building. We'll turn around somewhere up here, but here's one. Can we turn on this? Or
I'm going too fast.
okay.
And that also looks like it's someone's private
Yeah, well, I guess we
property.
need to kind of just like see what things are first. Okay.
Let's check out this one.
Trailhead parking, it says. I'm guessing it's not this one, because this is parking for a trailhead, right?
Yeah, but I mean, who knows? This was back in, what year was it again?
1961.
I don't know when this was made. Yeah, this doesn't look like it goes back very
Okay.
far. But I wonder what this trail is for future reference.
Ooh,
Indian Head
fun
Trail.
trail.
Oh, we should do this sometime. Okay, I'm gonna turn around.
Okay, sounds good.
This is not an off-road car. Yeah, but it's been 80 years, so this area's been so developed since then. I mean, this has only been a tourist destination since the mid-19th century, so.
There's the Indian Head Resort. I mean, I guess Indian Head was already here. There are some people at the sign. We'll have to wait till it's clear. So I want to read some tarot. Okay.
I think this is it.
Okay, so we're gonna turn on Broken Arrow Road and see what we can see.
This is someone's house.
Yeah, but what's this? Arrowhead Condo. It's down this road.
I think this.
Ooh.
Yeah.
We'll just turn around, but I don't know. I kind of feel like this is it.
Yeah, I mean, this is someone's house. I'm
There
just
you
gonna
go.
back up.
We'll turn around. Okay, I don't know actually, but it is a paved road that looks like it could have used to be a dirt road, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe someone built their house on it. I don't think I would want to live there.
Oh, need to get that checked out.
Okay.
This car sounds like me getting out of bed in the morning.
This is directly across from the Indian Head sign. It's like right there.
Yeah.
So it seems like they saw the sign and then turned on the road, right? So actually, I mean, like, the sign is here for the incident.
Yeah.
So what's here? Can we just turn on this just in case? Because I know obviously there's like stuff, but like, what's this? Is this also a house?
I think this is like service stuff for the resort. It looks like I see some trucks with the resort name on them back there, like maintenance maybe.
What's up there? Yeah, I don't know. A piece of me kind of wonders if like maybe the old dirt road got turned into like a paved driveway.
Yeah, I mean, it's very possible.
And that's why it's not like listed online as like a certain road, like it was on this road, you know?
Hey, it looks like the sign is free, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it. All right, so here is the sign. You can pause it if you want to read it. And up there is where the Indian Head sign is, and right across the street is where we were looking at a possible paved road. So what I'm going to do here is actually take my tarot cards, and I've charged them for this question already. But I want to know, what do we need to know about this incident? Is there anything that wants to come through for the highest good? All right. So here's what we have to work with. Interesting. So I'm drawn right at the beginning to this Three of Swords. And I feel like this has to do with some sort of disconnect or some sort of separation. I wonder if this has to do with what's under it? The mood. Yeah, I think this has to do with the entities. I'm going to call them the entities. I see them more as interdimensionals. I'm not gonna lie, I might be a little bit biased with how I read things based off of my understanding of them, but I do feel like there's a disconnection to the heart, and maybe even wanting to understand or wanting to break through a sort of barrier, a sort of like lack of understanding. Maybe there's something about seeing this couple wanting to I almost feel like this is sort of like a searching or like a dissecting of the heart. Like, what is it that makes you able to love? Not sure. Just a quick thought here. We have the Emperor in reverse. I feel like there's an abuse of power. There's absolutely an abuse of power to do with this. The Star in reverse. I feel like there's something about this that didn't quite go as planned as well. And maybe it's something that came out over time later that didn't come as planned. And you know, it's interesting, I see this Empress hiding here. I feel like it's Betty. I feel like Betty had more to say and had more observations or more remembrances from this event than was planned. It was almost like maybe Betty was underestimated. And so it wasn't quite the desired outcome from this abuse of power. It's interesting because I was kind of looking at some cards leading up to this, and the Nine of Pentacles in reverse came up there as well. And look what's hiding behind here. The High Priestess.
I think that Betty was more onto them and onto maybe the energy that was actually going on than was expected. Yeah. It's like she felt like something was off all along. I'll have to look into her interviews to maybe put this into better context. Oh, and over here we've got the Ace of Cups. I wonder if there was some sort of, I'm almost seeing this as sort of like sideways or tilted. Like I wonder if there's some sort of like emotional argument or response or something playing out, maybe even between them, between Betty and Barney. I'm curious what this card is. The 5. It's like I feel like something's lost, but we don't know what's lost. Maybe we're even like blaming each other a bit, or there's something. It's like there's something with this that caused a big emotional reaction. Page of Pentacles, 4 of Swords reversed. Yeah, Page of Pentacles. Well, behind it is the Page of Wands in reverse. I feel like this has to do with memory, but I'm very curious about, like, were they meant to remember it or not? Maybe they were meant to remember it but differently, or they were meant to see things as they were and not as how they actually felt. Physicality over energy. They weren't supposed to be as in tune with the actual, like, the energy behind what happened. More so, this almost feels like a mask. Like there's something about a mask. I almost want to pull a card just for that. Are those the only ones that are upright? Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna pull these back together. I'm gonna reshuffle. All right, so I'm just gonna cut the deck and see what comes up. What I want to know is, were they meant to remember this? If there was a plan in place, were they meant to remember anything about this? Magician in reverse. No, I feel like there was. Yeah, there's some sort of shielding in place or something in order. I mean, well, obviously they didn't remember it to begin with, but there was something in place so that they wouldn't. All right. What did Betty do that was unexpected? Did Betty figure something out that was unexpected? The Emperor. I think she could see a little bit more so who's behind it, maybe even more so than Barney did. Okay, so what about Barney? What do we need to know about Barney? Barney's response to this? Anything we need to gather from that? 10 of Wands. Perhaps he was more. Perhaps he couldn't see as clearly because he's more like overwhelmed with the amount of what happened, the amount of the implications behind it as well. Okay. So how does this affect us in the present day, or what do we need to know about this in the present day? This will be the last question. Let's see. Whoa, we got the Emperor again. You know what? I feel like the same energy and the same entities or the same whatever it is behind this today. It's the same. All right, so our underlying energy is the 5 of Cups reverse. I feel like I kept seeing that card sort of hidden behind things or coming up. 5 of Cups reversed. It almost feels like avoiding losing. If this is a power play, it's like the avoidance of a loss, but maybe a loss that's already happened or already felt. Avoiding some kind of loss. Okay, so if you're interested, I have some theories about extraterrestrials or interdimensionals, as I like to think of them, and I will link that video here at the end. Okay, I'm gonna have to think about this a little bit more. I might have some more reflections to tell you.
Oh, listen, I'm probably the only person in the world who has been paid by the Air Force to go to different Air Force bases and lecture to them on UFOs.
That's what I try to tell people in the government, that the government doesn't know what the government knows.
I mean, when you say government, my God, we got everything.
Let's just go back to those type of entities. They were your classic alien, gray-shaped,
No.
cat-like... No, they
They're-
weren't, okay.
They're a form of human being.
They were...
Another thing, I never called them aliens.
What did you call... beings? What was it?
Astronauts. I call them what they were, astronauts.
Okay, sure.
Junior has been evaluated by, I don't know how many physical anthropologists, but what he looks like now, if we continue along the path of evolution, this is what we're going to look like in 25,000 years.